1. I'm a 28-year-old female, and there's a Starbucks conveniently located next to my psychologist's office. And over the past few months, I've gotten into the habit of grabbing some sugar-laden concoction before my appointments. Fellow Aussies, do not come for me. I am perfectly aware that 400 calories worth of flavored syrups and whipped cream does not good coffee make. But my $9 caffeinated milkshakes are a rare treat that gives me a little boost and helps me get through a rough session of self-improvement. Yesterday morning, as I traveled towards my regularly scheduled reality check, I had a rare moment of forethought and decided to save myself from the looming lunch rush and order online. I'm in luck with the timing, and 10 minutes later I step through the door, just as a barista is putting the finishing touches on my pumpkin spice cold brew. She calls my name, and I happily bounce straight over, but as I reach for my precious bean juice, I find an immaculately manicured hand resting gently on my forearm. The woman it belongs to is probably in her mid-30s and oozes polished professionalism. In her neatly pressed linen suit, flawless makeup, and slicked-back high pony. The elegant gold jewelry that drips from her wrists and neck, and the designer logo that gleams from her calfskin purse, hint at wealth and power. The only resemblances she holds to a typical Karen are her nose, which remains pointed directly in the air, and the air of confident superiority that makes her seem to tower over everyone in the room. Though in reality she is a few inches shorter than me. For the sake of the story, let's call her Beelzebub. The devil in disguise. The smile she gives me almost seems genuine. And when she speaks, the tone is sweet and condescending, like she's gently correcting an ignorant child. That doesn't belong to you. I frown in confusion, not understanding the problem. At first I think perhaps it's a case of mistaken identity. I glance at the cup that clearly has my name printed neatly across the top. Oh, I'm sorry. Is your name the same as mine? I'm pretty sure this is my drink, though. What did you order? No, it's not. It's... Then she gives a much longer name that does not sound remotely similar to mine. And I ordered a venti soy matcha latte extra hot, with 2 pumps of vanilla. I'm now very confused. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but this is definitely not your drink, then. Maybe ask the barista if it's taking a while, or just keep an eye out for something green. I again go to grab my drink and leave, but she tightens her claws around me, and her smile starts to strain. I didn't say it was mine. I said it's not yours. I saw you. You just walked in and grabbed the first drink you saw. You can't just take it. You need to go stand in line and order and wait like everyone else here. Oh, I see the confusion. I ordered my drink through the app earlier, so it was ready when I got here. It's mine, see? I have the email right here. I wiggle out of her grasp and pull up the confirmation email to show her, which clearly states my order, that it has been paid for, and the time it was placed, now around 12 minutes prior, and give an apologetic smile for the mix-up as I reach for my coffee. Her lip curls into a sneer as, smack, she forcefully slaps my hand away. No, you do not get to just waltz in here and take that. I don't care if it is your drink. That is not fair. You just got here. You can wait until the rest of us have been served. The back of my hand burns a searing red, and I gape at her in pure shock, disbelieving that this complete stranger just smacked me over this nonsense. There are at least 8 other people already standing around waiting for their drinks, and another dozen lined up ready to order. Does she really expect me to go stand and wait for all these people to be served when my drink is already sitting there ready to go? When my collecting it and being on my merry way impacts no one, beyond getting me out of their way. Simply to appease some demented notion of fair. Yeah, no. I make eye contact with a weary barista, whose stiff customer service smile belies the ghosts of 1,000 such battles that line her face and haunt her dead eyes. With a sigh of irritation, she makes her way over to see what commotion the 2 of us dare cause her in the midst of the noon rush. Ow, what the fuck? Don't touch me, are you crazy? There a problem here, ladies? Yes, I was just trying to collect my drink and this crazy bitch stopped me and slapped my hand.
She just got here. She needs to wait. It's not fair in those of us who've actually been waiting here. She can't just walk in and grab the first drink. Tell her she needs to wait.
Miss, you need to wait in line and order your drink. You can't just grab someone else's. This is my drink, as I already told this woman. I made a mobile order. It was ready around when I got here. I have the confirmation email right here, and my name's on the cup. See? Grande pumpkin spice cold brew. Add 1 pump of vanilla for me. With a quick glance at my phone and the cup, the barista confirms my story, and now turns to Beelzebub, looking just as baffled as I am. Miss, this is her drink. She paid for it.
I don't care if she paid for it. I've been standing here waiting for my drink with everyone else. She needs to wait for it too. She doesn't get special treatment.
Miss, this woman ordered her drink some time ago, and it was made according to the sequence in which our system received the order. She has not received special treatment. Some orders may take more or less time, as certain things take longer to make, but we do not prioritize anyone's order over another. You are also very welcome to order through our app in future if you'd like to avoid waiting in line. I apologize for the wait. As you can see, we're quite busy, but you cannot be stopping other customers from collecting their own items, or using physical violence in our store under any circumstance. Please step aside and let other customers collect their drinks. Yours should be out shortly. Otherwise, I will have to ask you to leave the store.
No, I want my drink, and I want her to wait until everyone else has their drink. Go do your job and make my matcha. She will wait. I don't care if her drink is ready. She still has to wait.
I'm going to be late to my appointment if this crap continues. Can I just have my drink, please? And she slapped me hard enough to leave a mark in my hand. Can you call security on her or something? She's clearly mental. Yeah, I think that's probably best. The eerie thing is that up until this point, Beelzebub had barely raised her voice. She wasn't screaming, just sneering down at us both from her imaginary podium, and speaking with the same calmly irritated air of scolding superiority that a teacher might use on a misbehaving student. Obviously, she was in the right, and the rest of us just had to learn. But as the barista placed the cup firmly into my outstretched hand, Beelzebub's once flawless face crumpled into a hideous mask of pure, unadulterated rage. Her voice still stayed below a yell, but filled with a cold, unspeakable fury as she turned, snarling towards the poor, minimum-wage employee, and began to unleash the icy wrath of hell.
This is ridiculous. You're being ridiculous. This whole system is fucked. Clearly the corruption runs deep. Do you know who I am? I'm not someone you want to cross, little girl. Get me your manager now. I did nothing wrong. I paid for my drink, and I am not leaving. I'm going to sit right here and drink it as I have every legal right to do, and you're not going to do a thing to stop me.
As the demon rages on, I glance toward the stoic barista. She blinks heavily, and for a moment I fear she may be overcome by tears, but then I realize this seasoned warrior is merely trying to refrain from rolling her eyes. She meets my eyes and subtly gestures me towards the exit. After years on the battlefront of customer service, she can handle this alone. The watching crowd parts like the Red Sea to allow me to sneak past. As I'm nearly at the door, Beelzebub realizes that her quarry has gone astray, and begins to shout after me.
Hey, where is she going? She can't just leave. Someone stop her. I told you, she has to wait. I don't know why this is so fucking hard for you people to understand. Make that little bitch come back and wait her fucking turn.
With a one-fingered wave, I push my way through the last few meters to the back door, just as I hear the sweet tinkle of the bell as a security guard arrives at the front door. Beelzebub's righteous tirade turns again to how she has a right to be there. She did nothing wrong. She refuses to be removed. How dare they call security? She demands they refund her and give her her matcha free. And apologize to her right this instant. She punctuates her rant by slamming her hands against the counter as she speaks. The indignant squawks of entitlement turn to muffled chaos as the door closes behind me, and I make my way to a much-needed session of therapy with my cold brew securely in hand. I like to think that security guard dragged Beelzebub out of the shop kicking and screaming, although my instincts say someone so poised eventually regained her dignity and was walked out in a superior huff, probably making some comment about contacting her lawyer as she went. But as I gleefully guzzled my way through that delicious pumpkin-scented atrocity, I pictured a venti soy matcha latte extra hot with 2 pumps of vanilla, slowly going cold on a counter several floors below, while a drearily uncaffeinated Beelzebub raged in her fancy office somewhere, and the image made each sip even sweeter. Just to clarify, because some people have asked, yes, I'm an Aussie. This did take place in Australia. We do in fact have Starbucks here, and Karens, and psychologists, and office buildings, and security guards, and running water, and flushing toilets, and dumb shits like me who enjoy recounting stories in dramatic and stupid ways. I think perhaps I confused everyone when I removed much of the swearing from the actual dialogue, but I figured I might have horrified some Yanks clutching their pearls if I had used the contracted form of "see you next Tuesday" 17 times in one post. And I have probably already pissed them off enough by calling their most famous coffee a pumpkin-scented atrocity. Speaking of said pumpkin-scented atrocity, I know, I've got absolute shithouse taste in coffee, but drinking a scented candle has always been a lifelong dream of mine, and this is probably as close as I can get without having to get my stomach pumped after. Seriously though, it's surprisingly tasty. Good job, America. 2. I own a small landscaping business with my husband. This morning we show up to our job with our truck and trailer for a day of weeding at a long-neglected property. It's trash day in the neighborhood, and in order to back the trailer in, I have to get out of the truck to move 2 garbage cans that are in the way. I move them both 1 foot off the road with the intention of moving them back afterwards. I assume they were out on the road for visibility purposes. I then move behind the trailer and guide my husband into the parking spot. It's very narrow. Husband gets out of the truck, and we both look at the ocean as the waves are massive due to an impending storm, at least 10 feet high. Surfers are wiping out all over the place, and it's quite a sight. I counted over 60 surfers on my lunch break. 10 dang seconds into looking at the ocean, the neighbor comes out screaming at us about how the garbage truck driver can't see the cans and asks what the hell I am doing. When I say he was screaming, I mean screaming. This guy chose violence and was looking to intimidate. I calmly responded that I was about to move the cans back. I was just looking at the ocean first. He seemed slightly embarrassed and muttered something like, "I'll move them. Don't bother." 1 hour later, this guy catches my husband going to the truck and asks if he can put his lawn clippings in our trailer and take them to the dump with our other debris. No apology, no introductions, and like nothing had happened. My husband was taken aback in the moment and said yes, even though this is something we charge for. 30 minutes after that, he walks onto the property we are working at and says he just pruned a juniper and asks if he can put those clippings in there too. I respond, "Sure, if you throw us a 20. He laughs and says, "You kidding? You're going to the dump anyway, right?" To which I responded yes, and not only do they charge us by weight, but this is our job, and taking debris to the dump is a service we offer. We'll do it for $20. He laughs again and says, "They charge by weight? My debris weighs nothing." He huffs off and comes back with the $20. He was so mad, wouldn't even look at me when he handed the money over. My guess, he thought we'd just say yes, and he'd already cut the juniper before asking. Then didn't have a way of getting rid of it, couldn't put it in one of his 2 BMWs, and didn't want it laying around his $4 million beach house. Another short while later, he catches my husband and tries to find out which dump we go to because the one he suspects we go to doesn't charge by weight. Wrong dump, and also it doesn't matter. We charge what we charge. My guy, we don't have to say yes to us taking your debris. We decide our rates, and this is what we charge, take it or leave it, so to speak. You came to us. We're not going door to door asking for people's yard clippings. There is a minimum charge of $25 at the dump, no matter how much you have. Just save the $5 and the trip to the dump and leave us the hell alone. 3. This story happened 2 days ago, but I didn't witness it because I was still at work when it happened. My brother Carito was the one who witnessed it, and I'll be telling it like how I was told. A bit of backstory. My younger sister Mel. Mel had bought 2 Demon Slayer plushies and placed them on her dashboard, so that she could spot her car more easily during the night. But since one of the strings on the plushies snapped, she had placed it on the passenger seat, and the other one remained on the dashboard with a suction cup holding it in place. It was around 3:30 p.m., and he was just sitting in the living room when he heard some girls' voices just outside the front yard, and he knew Mel wasn't outside because he'd seen her in her room. She and her grandma shared a room, so he peeked outside and sees 3 high school-aged girls pointing at the plushies and saying something like, "Look, they have plushies in their car." Before he realized it, one of the girls started trying to pick the lock on Mel's car, since she always keeps her doors locked, especially when she has to park in front of the house, because she didn't want it blocked due to needing to attend class early the following morning. He immediately grabbed the closest thing he could see, which was an old curtain rod that we used to bang on the metal handrail in the backyard to scare away squirrels trying to eat from our grandma's garden. Then, charging out the front door yelling, "Hey, get away from there," while waving the rod around wildly. They immediately bolted away and he came back inside. He wasn't planning on harming them in any way, just trying to startle them away from our property. Also, from the front door to where the car was parked is probably a good 7 feet. He only got maybe a foot from the steps before the girls took off. When he told me 30 minutes later after I got home, and our dad, what had happened, I told him they were lucky it was you who startled them, because if it were Dad, he would have come out shaking the BB rifle instead. And no, he wouldn't have shot at them, because it's not even loaded. At most, if he did shoot it, a pellet would have just hit the car or the road, since it had terrible accuracy. Despite whoever sold it to him claiming that it had perfect accuracy. The pistol BB has much better accuracy, but that one is rarely used, and only out in case of emergency. 4. I've been living next to the worst, most entitled neighbors I've ever had for over 2 years now. Here's a little background. I'm in Australia. My neighbors in question are a bogan couple in their early 40s with no kids that I know of. They are incredibly selfish and inconsiderate. The blocks where I live are tiny. Our house is only a couple of meters away from theirs, and we have tiny outdoor spaces. They party in the warmer months in their backyard, sometimes until 1 or 2 a.m., drunken yelling, swearing, playing live musical instruments, having open pit smoky fires, etc. They have had huge screaming domestic fights that went well until the early hours of the morning, and the other neighbors have called the police on them twice for this. We once woke up at 4 a.m. to 3 police cars with lights flashing outside our bedroom window. They have installed a hot tub right up against our fence, and sit in it almost every single time we have nice weather. They run the pump and yell over the noise to talk to each other until late at night, several times a week in the warmer months. We have given up using our own yard in nice weather, as we rarely get any peace and quiet out there. They both run home businesses, so their customers use up all the street parking. His business is leasing out industrial equipment, which he parks in the street. They block our driveway every time they need to hitch and unhitch one of their trailers. He bangs and crashes around outside our bedroom window, tinkering with his trailers late at night sometimes. He also installed a massive advertisement flag right on the border of our property, which flaps over our driveway in the wind and is an absolute eyesore. She is constantly doing loud DIY projects that go on for months on end. She always does this right outside our living room window. Despite being home all day, every day, she chooses to use her power center in the evenings when we get home from work and on weekends, meaning we get no time to quietly relax most days inside our own house. She smokes all the time, so we have to keep our window shut mostly, and once we found a cigarette butt that had been flicked over our fence while still lit. It has permanently melted a spot in our astroturf. They installed a super-powered floodlight down the side of their house that points directly into one of our bedrooms. They turn it on randomly some nights, and sometimes at like 5 or 6 a.m. We used this as the guest bedroom originally, but we have had to rearrange the house and now just use that room as a gym room because our guests can't sleep in there due to the noise and their stupid floodlight. They also have a yapping little dog, of course, and chickens for some reason. The chick feed attracts rats which keep trying to nest in our roof. They have a huge umbrella that doesn't fit their backyard area and hangs over our fence by nearly a meter every time it's opened. It blew over our fence one day in a strong wind and nearly smashed our window. I've tried banging on the window when they're partying to tell them to be quiet or go inside. We have talked to them about not hanging their belongings over our property. We have anonymously reported them to the council multiple times, and they have been warned to keep it down, but nothing is changing. I just had to endure several hours of power tool noise today on a Saturday afternoon, yet again. We don't know what to do without starting a fight with them, which we don't want. Has anyone here successfully dealt with idiots like this without turning it into an ongoing fight? We don't want to make things nasty between us, but we can't keep putting up with this. It makes my blood boil that they think they're entitled to invade my home with their ridiculous noise every day. Any suggestions would be much appreciated. 5. It's a quiet summer, and we weren't expecting anyone to call because our parents were at work, and so were the rest of our relatives. So we were just chilling in our parents' room on the computer, playing games, and watching YouTube videos of past games we used to play. When the phone goes off, and Carito picks up because I just walked away for a bit. Hello, who's this?
Finnegan.
What? I walk back in to Carito staring confusedly at me, before handing me the phone, just as confused. Hi, who's this?
Finnegan.
I hang up. A minute later, the phone rings again. This time Vivi picked it up. Hi, who's this?
Philip.
Give me the phone, who's this?
Philip.
Haha, you're so funny, and I hang up. This goes on for another couple of minutes, until I don't pick up, but McDouchebag didn't get the hint and kept calling repeatedly, while saying random BS, until I had enough, and told Carito and Vivi to step out for a bit, and I'll handle these idiots. Ring, 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 pick up, but don't respond.
Tick.
And I hang up, followed by more ringing. I'm livid at this point. What the fuck do you want? He's laughing at this point.
Tick.
Fuck off, unless you wish for me to transfer you to talk with my uncles, who's the police chief, dickhead. Then I hang up again. I just sat there for a full minute, waiting for him to call back, before I called my brothers back into the room to finish watching the video. I later on told our parents, but they just told me that I should have just ignored them, instead of answering the phone. I even told them that I did ignore the calls, but they didn't get the hint until I snapped at them. But as usual, I'm not taken seriously by my parents. Ironically, I found out years later that I did have 2 relatives that worked in the police department, 2 older cousins that I haven't seen in a while. But it makes the story all the more funny that saying that made McDouchebag stop bothering us. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Idiots in the Wild, episode 137. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Please do give the like button a poke before you go. And if you'd like to get these videos a little bit earlier, then you can support me for as little as $1 a month through my Patreon, which is linked in the description. You can also support more if you wish. And you can also get yourself some Hellfreezer merchandise, which is also linked in the description to my Teespring store. And you can make donations during streams or videos like this one. While this is not required to watch the videos, I do appreciate it, and it very much helps me out. Okay, let's see. Don't think there's any other business. Think I've done all the birthday shoutouts for now, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, how do you like your eggs? Specifically, scrambled. Do you like them kind of loose and a little bit moist? Or do you like them more firm and springy? I've had them both over the years, but I find I like them just a little bit loose, but not to the point where they're completely runny. I also like to put something we have in the UK called seasonal in them, but in lieu of that, I'll put garlic and other seasonings. A pretty simple one this day, so why don't you let me know what you think in a comment below. And with that, I'm gonna head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.